Yeah. I know what you're gonna say. Vince, why are you late? Vince, why are you so late? Okay, I am late tonight, folks, in honor of the Hispanics. And you probably think that's some type of racist joke. The hell, what are you saying? Hispanic people are late? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. In fact, you'll see in a second what I mean if you would just be patient, okay? Just be patient. I had a special item that I had to await delivery on, and now we're ready to start the show. So again, if you're wondering why we're late tonight, you can blame the Hispanics. It's because of the Hispanics. Again, you'll find out what I mean in a second. Stay tuned. We are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. I am your galaxy-brained host, per the Rolling Stone, Vince Dao. And before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Happy Cinco De Mayo, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you are new to the channel, just letting you know, we do this show live every at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every Monday through Friday. So be sure to join us here nightly during the week if you're here for the show. But last show of the week, let's go out strong and have a great weekend. We're currently at 18 likes on the stream. Let's get up to 50 likes, ladies and gentlemen. And as usual, if you want to support the show or you have a question or comment that you want read and answered, feel free to send it in as a super chat. I will read those obviously periodically throughout the night. And as usual, we do our Q&A portion at the end of the show. So again, you want to support, you got questions or comments, consider sending a super chat. In fact, we got one right now from Burgundy Blue. So true.
Burgundy Blue donated $1.99 through super chat. Thoughts on the Dark Brandon meme?
So maybe this might be a hot take. I actually think the Dark Brandon meme is kind of funny. And it's funny in like an ironic way. And I understand it's cringe when the left does it. Here's what I'll say. I think it's cringe when the left does it because they're just genuinely not funny. But a lot of the AI memes where they might make Biden into like a hood gangster and stuff like that. And I think those are funny. And so that's what I would say. I do get a kick of it sometimes. Daniel McQuaid for $2.79 says, I love Hispanics. They make great tacos. They make great taco bowls. Get it right, Daniel. Thank you for the $2.79. Appreciate it, guys. And like I said, we'll get into that in a second. But all right, guys. Again, you want to support the show. You got questions or comments you want read on the stream. Feel free to send in super chats. And with that said, let's get into the show tonight. Let me check the time. What time is it? Watch ain't working. Just kidding. It is. It's the hour of Dao. Let's get into the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, before we get into our main stories tonight, we got two things to address because today is two things, right? May 5th, 2023, it is Cinco de Mayo, and it is also the birthday, believe it or not, of Karl Marx. So happy birthday to Mexico or Hispanic people or whatever Cinco de Mayo is, and sad birthday, obviously, to Karl Marx. Now, I want to talk about both of these things, but in order to end this segment on a happy note, let's start by talking about Karl Marx. So, on the anniversary of on the birthday of one of the worst men to ever walk the earth in human history, what is there really to say that we don't know or hasn't already been said a million times? You know, we can obviously say that communism is a failed experiment that has killed hundreds of millions of people, which it has. But if you watch this channel, you already know that. We can say that communism is a failed experiment. I just said that. We can point out that Karl Marx was a godless degenerate who never worked a real job in his life and leached off of his wealthier family until the day he died. And he's also one of the ugliest men to ever exist in human history. Just saying, physiognomy, it's a real thing. But again, if you're watching this channel, you already know that. You already get this. So what I will throw out on the birthday of Karl Marx is perhaps an idea that might be controversial to a small minority of the audience, but very true. And I said this on Twitter today, which is that, frankly, at the time where he was alive, Karl Marx should have been thrown in jail and all of his books should have been burned. I know, crazy, right? Oh, whoa, calm down. No. We're talking about a guy who, again, his ideas were so reckless that they led to the deaths of, like I said, hundreds of millions of people, and they're currently leading to the downfall of our civilization. So, that's my take on Karl Marx. At the time, back in 1800s Germany, he should have been thrown in jail. All copies of Das Kapital and, Communist Manifesto should have been burned. Now, I know what you're going to say. But Vince, he has a right to free speech as well, perhaps, maybe. I don't know, maybe. But the thing is, he never lived in the United States. In fact, I believe at the time he was born, the U.S. had not even incorporated the First Amendment on the state level. And so even in the United States, understand at this time, there were things like blasphemy laws. States actually did sometimes infringe on free speech. This was Germany in the 1800s. All I'm saying, and all I said earlier today, is I don't know if free speech was such a universally recognized thing back then. Okay, not sure about that. And all I'm saying is, considering that's how things used to be, I'm not saying they should be like that. I'm just saying, considering that's the way things used to be, considering things were like that in, classical Europe, all I'm saying is perhaps the proper authorities in question at the time should have, used their power for good. That's all I'm saying, right? Because I'm sure plenty of people back in the day got jailed for things that they said. I'm pretty sure. I mean, what did they used to do to heretics, right? So, I'm just saying maybe some old-timey Europeans should have taken more initiative there. And maybe that's a hot take, but I would just say, all things considered, history would have been a lot better off if, the German authorities or even the British authorities where he got exiled to would have done that. And before you come at me saying stuff like this one guy said in the replies, he says, do you want to live in a society where people can't read something they don't like? Buddy, let's be clear about this. Again, you can disagree with my take, but let's be clear about this. That is already the society that we live in. Speech is censored all the time in the West, and the reason why your speech is censored in the West is because of the legacy of Karl Marx. Okay, so let me just point, you can say, oh, well, hypocritical. What I'm just saying. Okay, let's be honest about that. The reason why there are these hate speech laws in his homeland of Germany, in the European Union, the reasons why you can't say certain things about transgenderism in Canada and England, and even here in the United States, where the First Amendment admittedly is quite a bit better, still look at things like social media, right? Look at the censorship of social media. Look at, the fight against free speech on college campuses. These things all exist. All of the issues with free speech that you see in Western society and you constantly complain about, in one way or another, they can all be traced back to the legacy of Karl Marx. So all I'm saying is, hypothetically, if I were given the chance back then, if Germany back then, whatever, back then, if an imperial European country in the 1800s, who again didn't really respect free speech to begin with, just decided to censor the guy in exchange for a world history that would never have had to know Marxism. I mean, I'm just saying I would take that. I would take that exchange, and I think it should have been done. Okay? Instead, we totally dropped the ball on that, and here we are living in the aftermath of that idiot named Karl Marx. So, I don't know, whatever. Just some food for thought. Just an idea. It's kind of it's a thought exercise, obviously. It's like a philosophical question, hypothetical question. What's done is done. But I'm just saying, and you can answer the question in chat right now, if given the opportunity to, again, throw Karl Marx in jail and burn all of his books back in the 1800s, and knowing what you know about human history, would you take that? Would you take that? Would you accept that? Would you go with that? I don't know. See, my thing is I would. Because I get it. Yeah, free speech. But we're not talking about a society in the first place back then that respected free speech. So why not at least, censor bad stuff? That's all I'm saying. So, you guys can answer that in the chat. But, here we are. So anyways, it is May 5th. On a happier note, it is also Cinco de Mayo today. So I want to say that I love Hispanics. Okay. Shout out to all the Hispanics in chat. All right. If you're Hispanic in chat, just say, I am Hispanic. I love Hispanics. It's true. And as we know, the best taco bowls are made in Trump Tower. Now, here's the issue. Sadly, I do not have access to Trump Tower or its taco bowls. But I do love Hispanics. And so, because I love Hispanics so much, obviously we had to find a way. And so out of love again for the Hispanic people, I got the next best thing, which is the burrito bowl at Chipotle. It's so true. The burrito bowls at Chipotle are among the best. So again, to celebrate whatever Cinco de Mayo is, I don't even understand what it really is, but to celebrate, I know it's just Hispanic. So to celebrate and show the fact that I love Hispanics, I have gone through the great lengths, and the reason why we were late tonight, I have acquired the burrito bowl from Chipotle, and as a show of my goodwill to Hispanics and the Hispanic community, as a means to improve the state of Asian Hispanic relations in America, I will take a ceremonial bite from this taco bowl because, again, what can I say? I love Hispanics. And so, this is historic. This is the historic VinceDao bite from the Chipotle Taco Bell on this stream. Everyone get your cameras out, okay? This is history. You talk about, Trump crossing the DMZ into North Korea. Oh, wow, that was so historic. This is more historic. This is a million times more historic, okay? He takes the ceremonial bite. And it is so true. It is so true. I love Hispanics, okay? And, next year, Cinco de Mayo, we got to find a way to get the Trump Tower Taco Bowl. I don't know. We'll go all the way up to New York. We'll put it in a bag or something. I don't know. But there you go, chat. You all just witnessed history. You all just witnessed history on this stream. Happy Cinco de Mayo, okay? Happy Cinco de Mayo, my Hispanics. I love Hispanics. I love Hispanics. Anyways, with that said, chat, let's get into our real stories for tonight. But before we do that, I know we got a few super chats, so let me just check them out really quickly, and then we will get into our actual kind of content for the night. You guys witness history. I don't know if you all are truly realizing that, understanding that. But okay, let's get into the super chats. Small Graydon guy for $2 says, thoughts on theocracy? It's what I wish the USA was. So I guess you'd have to define theocracy, because I don't believe that the church should be made directly into the governing authority, but I do think that there should be a government where the church keeps a very close relationship with, the governing authority, if that makes sense, right? So to an extent, I do believe in separation of church and state in the sense that I don't think that the church should be the government, but I do think the church should be able to influence the government, if that makes sense. So there's my take on that. Everyone is always like, theocracy is so evil. And then, okay, but you live in a society where your kid can cut off their blank. So would it really have been such a bad thing? It's true. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate it. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, Frederick Engels, Karl Marx's friend and co-writer, was a capitalist and owned factories. Marx mooched off of him. He literally lived off of others' labor. Well, everyone knows this. He was a lazy, degenerate scumbag. He was a useless person. Nobody likes, I cannot respect anyone like that. And you can tell by his physiognomy. He looked like a bum. He was unkempt and all that stuff. He was ugly. He looked just like the Redditors of today. You look at Vosh, someone like Vosh, just total fat slob. You can see a very, very strong comparison there, So, even on a personal level, it's very hard to find anything admirable about Karl Marx. Which, at least you can say about some of these revolutionaries, at least like Che Guevara, he actually fought. He actually did, everything he believed was evil, but at least he kind of stood up and fought a war or whatever, led revolutionaries. Karl Marx didn't do anything. He never worked. He was a lazy, degenerate scumbag. He leached off of other people his whole life. He was just physically repulsive. There's not a single redeemable thing you find about Karl Marx in any regard. So thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Daniel McQuaid for $2.79 says, I would have burned all of Karl Marx's books in Minecraft. Well, there you go. Daniel McQuaid answers my thought exercise from earlier. It is real. Let's see here. Burgundy Blue for $5 says during the Civil War, the Monroe Doctrine was not enforced, so France invaded Mexico to colonize it. Cinco de Mayo celebrates victory over the French. Well, there you go. I knew it was something to do with like Independence Day, but I didn't know if it was the Mexican Independence Day. So I was okay. So there you go. That's what Cinco de Mayo is. Okay, I learned it tonight, and now I love Hispanics even more. Okay, do we need to take a second bite out of the burrito bowl? I'm not sure. But Daniel McQuaid says Poland recognizes Jesus as king. I would like that. Yeah, I would like it too. Daniel McQuaid. Thank you for the member chat. I appreciate it. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, if you're watching right now, be sure to leave a like on the stream. I will check for more super chats in a bit. But let's get into the rest of our stories tonight. So, Tim Pool got into it today with the guy from SerfsTV. If you don't know what SerfsTV is, they're this hyper leftist YouTube channel or something. Who cares? They're just liberal YouTubers. And there's a viral clip of them going around where SerfsTV straight up advocates for abortion all the way up to 9 months. And like just stands there and is proud of that. That's not an exaggeration. It's not a joke. Check this out for yourself.
So can we make the argument then that the use of guns on people are allowed?
The use of guns on people are allowed?
To end their lives is allowed.
So that's murder. You're describing murder.
So if Colorado, for instance, passes a law saying there is no medical requirement for an abortion, is it wrong to kill the baby?
You're trying to compare murdering someone with a gun to a woman having to make a medical decision that could basically preserve her life.
No. I said not a medical reason. That's what I'm saying.
Should she have the ability to have an abortion for any reason? Yes.
At 9 months.
So he just made the excuse of, and they always do this, it's a medical reason. Women get abortions for medical reasons. But if that were the case, okay, then how about legalize abortion if you get a doctor's permission, right? That would be the logically end point. But then he just is like, well, no, I think abortion should be legal for any reason. So then why even bring up medical reasons, and why even bring up rape if it's not like it has nothing to do with what you're trying to get at?
At 9 months, I would say at 9 months, because it only happens according to the stats based on complete medical necessity. She has a right to do it.
No. Hold on. Colorado legalized abortion up to 9 months with no medical reason required. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that decision, yes.
So the baby could...
This guy is a simp, by the way. I'm just saying, he irradiates that energy. You can just tell.
Survive on its own, and the mother is legally now allowed to just end its life.
She has the right if she wanted to. You're saying so in Colorado, and
it's not a trick question. I know,
but I'm asking you because you're the one who brought this up. I don't know what Colorado specific law says. So if you were saying that in Colorado, women have the ability at 9 months to have an abortion for any reason, they could just decide that they're bored. Yeah. Okay, I think they should have the right to do that, but the stats show that they're not doing that. But they should have a legal right to do that. Yes, it's their body.
So did you guys get that? He straight up said that he thinks they should have a right to have an abortion at 9 months, okay? Like, right before the baby is about to be born. It has all the features of a newborn baby. This psychopath, this genocidal psychopath, thinks that it should be legal to abort. And, of course, he uses two excuses. He says, first of all, medical reasons, but then he admits in, like, 2 sentences later, it has nothing to do with medical reasons. And then, second part, here, let's just listen to the rest.
Their choice, of course.
So this is what I disagree on. I think if the baby needs to be removed from the woman, there's no reason to kill it.
Oh, well, his second excuse is what? He says, oh, well, it doesn't happen a lot. Okay, but the question is, should it be allowed to happen? Should it even be legal to do? Right? It's like saying, oh, well, murder doesn't happen a lot in the United States, so why do we need laws against murder? Because it's wrong, right?
You know what I mean? Like you could just C-section and then put it for adoption.
But I'm telling you that doesn't happen.
But it does. But hold on.
Like you might be able to bring up anecdotes, but the stats don't say that.
But hold on.
But the question is, should it be legal? Okay, should it be legal? So even if it happens once, again, the question is, should this be against the law? So saying, oh, well, I think it should be legal, I think it should be allowed, but also you're not allowed to question it because it doesn't happen that often. That's not the point. We're asking, is this thing right or wrong? And this total deflection of an argument.
Like, why allow it to happen? I just don't understand. Are you arguing? Wait, hold on. Are you arguing you oppose it? And you think it's morally wrong, but you think it should be legal?
I think that women should have the right to decide what they do and have bodily autonomy over their own bodies.
We're not talking about her body. We're talking about...
It is her body. We're talking about... At 9 months, even if it's still inside her, it's still her body. Even if it's a viable baby, it's still her body. We're talking about the removal of the baby, yes? The forceful removal of the baby, or...
Forceful.
So she chooses to have that. The woman
says the baby must be removed from my body. Why kill the baby if they're removing it?
I don't think they should do that. I would if they ask me, Lance, should I do this? I would say no, but she should have a right. Yes, of course. It's her body still.
No.
She should have, again, this is the position. She should have the right to abort a 9-month pregnancy.
That doesn't stop.
So, like, the woman is pregnant, the baby is viable and capable of surviving on its own.
Sure.
And she says before it breaches oxygen, kill it. Do you think that should be allowed?
This is, again, the baby guillotines. This is why I brought that up.
But
what a weird scenario. This doesn't happen. This is not the real world.
But it does.
So, according to him, I'm not sure if it's true, but Colorado just passed a law on it. So, yeah, it's a thing, okay? And even just on that point, I know for a fact, let me just say, because I know how the pro-choice women are. Someone out there is going to go and do that if it's legal. Go and have an abortion at 9 months, and you know it's coming, right? And they're going to just post it and say, hey, I own the pro-choicers. Look at me. You know, because this is what they do, right? Scream your abortion, celebrate your abortion. Literally, if that is made the law, someone out there is going to go and do it just to prove a point, because they're that sick and demonic and evil. So,
and if the argument is that it doesn't happen enough for you to care, that's fine. You're allowed to believe that.
Sure.
What I don't understand is it seems like your position is a rather shocked position where you recognize there is something inherently wrong with taking the life of a baby that could survive on its own, but you're also taking the tribal position of women should be allowed to do it anyway.
No. If you were to ask me, Tim, hey, Lance, do you think it's a good idea if this woman who's 9 months pregnant, suddenly she got bored with the pregnancy, she doesn't want to have it anymore, but the baby's viable? Do you think that's a good thing to do? I would be like, no, of course not.
Then why should it be allowed?
Because it's still her right. It's still her body. But bodily autonomy doesn't stop at my morality. Tim, it's not my choice. Right?
So there you have it. Someone said, where did Vince go? Well, I was going to just play it, but then I just had too many things to say, so I was just pausing it. Yeah, there you have it. Lance is his name from the Serfs. I mean, what do I really have to say? He believes in abortion all the way up to 9 months. And see, very often from pro-choicers, the excuse they use is, oh, well, when the fetus is viable, quote unquote, you know, if it can survive outside the womb, then fine, pro-lifer, you win. But, you know, other than that, it's not a life yet or whatever. That's what most pro-choicers say. Well, this one outright says, no, even if it is viable, even if you're hours away from labor, he still thinks it's 100% justified and okay to kill the baby. And by the way, they say our position on abortion is unelectable, right? This is what they say. Republicans are losing elections because of abortion. Again, I don't think it's because of abortion. I think it's because we approach electoral turnout and strategy wrong. But whatever. This is electable? 9-month abortions? Are you serious? So, you know, there you have it. There's not a lot I have to say about it. It's unhinged. It's insane. He never really justifies it either. Oh, it doesn't happen a lot, so therefore it's okay. Bodily autonomy, but again, the baby is minutes away, about to come out. The baby can survive on its own, and you think it's still okay to kill it? And by the way, if you were to perform an abortion at 9 months, I don't know the science or whatever, but wouldn't you in some way have to pull the baby out of the woman in order to kill it? Like, wouldn't you have to do that in some, like, I don't know. How would you even abort a baby at 9 months? Not to get graphic about it, but I think about it for a second. Unless you're going to do a C-section and just, I don't know, you know, stab whatever. Again, not to get graphic, but he's talking about abortion at 9 months. Like, I would think in some way you would have to pull the baby out, right? And so at that point, how is it bodily autonomy? You pull the baby out. The baby's living and breathing. It's a living, breathing baby. Because you would have to induce labor or do something to get it out, right? I would think. I don't know. I would think. Again, we're talking about the hypothetical medical procedure, just YouTube, okay? I'm obviously not endorsing any of this. This is all sick and evil. And so, again, how does that even become still a bodily autonomy thing? I have no idea, but there you have it. There is the stance of Lance from SerfsTV. Again, that's just evil. That's demonic, frankly. But on a similar note, folks, it just seems in general that these people are starting to become more honest about what they really believe on this issue. Today, I saw this clip of Bill Maher admitting that abortion is murder. He admits it. He says, yes, abortion is murder. Like, he literally says that, but saying that he doesn't care. You think I'm taking it out of context? Here, take a listen.
Pro-life people don't hate women. That's another one. They hate women. They don't hate women. They think it's murder, and it kind of is. I'm just okay with it. I'm totally okay with that kind of murder.
That's a very honest take.
So, you know, on one hand, I do appreciate the honesty from Bill Maher. I appreciate, and honestly from Lance from SerfsTV too. At least he's honest about what he really believes. Because what he's saying is that, well, yes, you are correct, pro-lifer. By any biological or logical standard, life begins at conception. But he is saying that I don't believe life has value inherently. That is essentially Bill Maher's stance on abortion. And to his credit, he also does acknowledge, he actually is trying to say it as a conciliatory thing to pro-lifers. He's saying that, yeah, the pro-lifers absolutely do believe that it's a life, and it is. I agree. But he's just like, so what? Right? So I guess to an extent, thank you, Bill Maher, for being honest and I guess at least sort of recognizing it. But the issue is, though, that, you know, I don't have to say this. What he's saying here is completely unhinged. So Bill Maher's stance is that life is not inherently valuable in itself, right? I strongly disagree with that, as you could imagine. I am a Christian who believes that all life is made in the image of God, and that is why I am pro-life, right? That's why, because I don't see myself or any human being as the moral arbiter of deciding whether or not a totally innocent human life is valuable or not, right? As inconvenience as a pregnancy might be, I personally myself am not arrogant enough to say that I or some woman or any human being has the authority to determine the intrinsic value of another human life, a totally innocent human life, by the way, I should add. Bill Maher disagrees chiefly. I mean, let's be honest about the reason. Bill Maher chiefly disagrees because he is a proud atheist. That's what this is really about. And I know what some people will say. Vince, what does this have to do with religion? You can make a, pro-life argument without religion. We can be pro-life and secular, da-da-da. Yes, you can, but I would say that past a certain point, it becomes hard not to bring religion into this. Because, yes, we can go through all of these scientific arguments as to why life starts at conception. Okay, I get that. I understand that. But at a certain point in the debate, what do you do when confronted with a liberal who says, like the past two we played, yes, I know it does, but what about it? What do you do when the pro-choicer says, yes, that is a human life, but that doesn't mean it's a human life with moral value or worth? That's basically what Bill Maher is saying, right? Bill Maher's probably, if you were asked him more about what he believes, if I'm just kind of assuming here, I could imagine, he'll probably bring up arguments like, well, it's not conscious. It doesn't have a consciousness yet. It's not sentient yet. And so therefore, the life doesn't have worth or whatever. At that point, that's frankly when this can no longer just be a scientific secular debate. Because yes, we can try to scientifically agree here, it's a life. But when Bill Maher is ideologically consistent and understands that it's a life, and he simply believes that, yeah, it's a life, but it's not a conscious life, it doesn't reserve rights or protection, what do you do then? Right? What do you do when Bill Maher, particularly because of his atheism, believes that he and he alone or any human being can assign the moral value or lack of moral value to human life and basically say that he gets to be the guy who makes that decision? And that is the arrogance, that is the fundamental belief of the atheist, right? I am God, I can play God, I get to make that decision. And honestly, this is why I have to bring religion into it. I have to bring at least some religious view into this debate. What do you really say to that? What is there to say about that other than, okay, then we need to talk about God or some basis of your moral philosophy, in order to kind of reach a consensus here, right? Because we've been doing this whole pro-life, pro-choice debate under the assumption, most pro-lifers approach this thing with the assumption that, well, they don't agree that it's a life, but we agree that we agree that human life is valuable. But again, if you really get down to the belief of the secular, materialist, liberal worldview, you will find that philosophically, if you actually get the pro-choice side to finally be honest with themselves, they will tell you, like Bill Maher, and like kind of the guy from SerfsTV just said, yes, it's a life. No, I don't care. Okay? And at that point, you have to convince someone that they ought to care about that life. And how do you do that? I suppose you can do that philosophically, but what happens if they reject that too? Just saying. That's why I kind of say that in many ways, the abortion debate, in the end, okay, we can spend a lot of time debating the science of it, but in the end, you're going to find that it's ultimately spiritual at its core. And I know some of their secular friends might disagree, not want to hear that, but I don't know. I'm just saying it's an observation I make. It's an observation I make. So anyways, guys, there's the Bill Maher story. We'll go into the final story of the night here in a second. But let me check for super chats. Nobody for $10, thank you very much, says, I'm a socialist and environmentalist who holds socially conservative views. I can't stand these serfs or breadtube in general, nor are they socialists. They're LARPing rad libs. Thank you for the $10, nobody. I appreciate you. The socialist bucks, okay? We got the socialist bucks going, okay? Yes. No, in all seriousness, though, I mean, I see what you're saying. I understand there are people out there who have like left-wing economic views and right-wing social views. What I will say, though, is that I do not consider myself a socialist, and I worship the altar of free market capitalism. Do I think, big tech regulating us, that's a free market? But I would call into question, I think most of your ideas economically simply don't work. They're not practical. And again, I'm not saying I worship every aspect of capitalism is so perfect and we should just worship the market as conservatives. But I'm not a socialist simply because I think most of those ideas are unpractical. They don't create prosperity. They just don't work. They suck to operate in, and so that's kind of my stance. But thank you very much for the $10. I appreciate it. At least you're not a woke socialist, okay? I appreciate it very much. Let me see. Did we get anything on the Streamlabs? I don't believe we did. All right, with that said, we'll continue here. We'll do the super chat portion at the end. Thanks for the support. God bless you guys. All right, well, final story here of the night, and then we'll do Q&A. Hopefully, we'll have time for a decently longer one tonight. All right, here we go. Well, for our final story of the night, let's talk about Destiny, okay? It's a very internet-based stream. I don't know. Do you guys like that? I feel like every time I do that, people like it. But anyways, let's talk about Destiny. Who is Destiny for those unfamiliar? Well, you don't need to know much about him. He's a big liberal YouTuber. He's also the king of the debate me bros, okay? You look at Hunter Avalon, you wonder, why is he so like, Destiny, while not the worst of them, is kind of the forefather of that stuff. I have my study here. Hey. So debate me about transgenderism, bro. I have a study from Big Pharma that says puberty blockers aren't bad for you. Anyways. I just saw something today that made me laugh. So he basically went out and said that Andrew Tate can't fight. Okay. So which I just found to be hilarious because, he can go out there and say, I don't like this argument, that, whatever. But to say that, Andrew Tate, right? Kickboxing world champion. Absolutely jacked, human specimen. And on the other hand, you have Destiny, a guy who literally has blue hair. He is totally out of shape. I don't think the guy's ever been in a fight. He's saying that Andrew Tate can't fight. So here you go. I'll play the video that Andrew Tate posted, and then we'll play the response. So check this out here. I found this whole thing so funny. All right, so there, Andrew Tate just pads, right. Okay, so that's just a video he posted, right? But Destiny said in response to this, okay, he quote tweets this and says, feet slow, standing too high, sloppy targeting, and yikes, that weight distribution. Jake Paul, 4 rounds, easy. I couldn't believe this when I was seeing this. Okay, so here's the thing. Destiny, I know you think you know everything, and maybe you read a study about boxing. That's how hey, this study actually... Hey, I Googled a study that says this is the way you're supposed to box. Okay, but, here's the thing. Again, I know you think you know everything, but look at you, dude. Okay? Look at you. Literally, what does Destiny know about boxing or fighting or anything regarding physical activity? It's like it made me crack up so much, okay? And you might say, oh, well, Vince, what do you know about it? I mean, sure, fair. I'm not claiming to be a physical specimen. I'm not claiming to be an expert on fighting. Okay, I did Kung Fu when I was little, and that's about it. But I'm also saying, right, that's why I keep my mouth shut on something like this. Because I know that Andrew Tate could literally kill me if he wanted to. And I mean in the context of a professional fight, obviously, right? So, I'm just saying, as someone who has no experience in boxing, when I see a video of a 4-time kickboxing world champion hitting some pads, I'm not gonna, and also, by the way, Destiny, there are different fighting styles. I don't know everything about boxing, but I know different fighters have different styles, right? I'm not gonna go and critique it like I actually know what I'm talking about, because I don't. And you know what, Destiny? You don't either. Again, look at you. Okay? You have no clue about the first thing regarding fighting. And, even on the record, everything you said about critiquing, the video or whatever, it could be true. And maybe Jake Paul could beat Andrew Tate. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe he could, right? But I would still say to that, be quiet. You have no clue what you are talking about. Like, who is this guy saying, feet standing, your feet are slow, you're standing too high, sloppy targeting, and yikes, that weight distribution? Again, dude, what do you know about fighting? You are a debate me bro who, okay, I'm not even gonna get into all that, okay? But long story short, you don't know anything about boxing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I know, but that's also why I'm not gonna, hey, Andrew, you need to move your feet more, okay? And, you could also even make the case, oh, well, you can actually critique pro athletes if you know the sport, which I do believe that, which is why, I used to play football, so I can sometimes watch football games and kind of identify he's not good at this, he needs to do that, whatever. Because at least I know the sport and the fundamentals. But again, dude, Destiny, I know for a fact you do not know a thing about fighting. I know for a fact you've never boxed. You don't know the first thing. And so you might see this video and think, oh, well, his form seems kind of weird. Maybe that's his style. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe this guy ought to be humble for once and just sit this one out. I'm just saying, okay? Destiny, I know you're a pseudo-intellectual, so you can sit down and say, Andrew Tate is wrong. Andrew Tate. You're really going to sit there, though, and say, Andrew Tate doesn't know how to fight because the study says that he needs to, move his feet. If you were in a ring with a guy, like, it would be, you know what I mean? We know, okay? So just keep your mouth shut for once. Seriously. The arrogance of some of these people. Anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our main stories for the night. I suppose we could talk. I don't have anything else planned, but if you guys, did you guys see the Trump tapes today? They released the tapes of, there's a woman from the 80s or 90s accusing Trump of rape. And, you watch they're releasing these deposition tapes of, the court hearing deposition, whatever we were looking at. And the liberals are releasing them trying to say, oh, wow. Same thing with the Tucker Carlson tapes. Oh, my gosh, he's so mean and sexist, and then you watch them, they're actually quite hilarious. But I didn't include them in the stories tonight. But all right, that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into super chats. We're at it's Friday night. We got longer time to do Q&A. We're about 39 minutes, so we'll do super chats for, about an hour, about 20 to 30 minutes here, and then we'll call it a night. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, the super chats are now open. Any questions or comments that you got for me that you want read and answered, feel free to send them in via the super chats. You can send them in here on YouTube, or if you don't want to give 30% of your donation to YouTube, to Big Tech, I have the Streamlabs link pinned at the top of the chat. You can do PayPal and all that stuff. I know it's glitchy for some people, so I apologize about that, but that is how you can, also another way you can super chat that, again, doesn't give 30% of the money to Big Tech. So anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Burgundy Blue for $2 says, is nobody a blank? Well, you'd have to ask him. Thank you for the $2, Burgundy Blue. Nobody for $2 says, by the way, I'm not a Marxist. I'm a Spanglerite. Thank you for the $2. I don't even know what that is. If I'm gonna be, if I were to be honest, I've never heard of that. But thank you for the $2. Appreciate it. Double G says there's a difference between MMA and kickboxing. Yeah, there is. Either way, he is smacking Jake Paul. I mean, I agree, right? But just generally speaking, just to see Destiny like that guy of all people, this guy of all people, this guy is gonna come along and say, "Hey, man, I don't think you know how to fight." Come on, dude. Anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we got going on in the chat. Vince, thoughts on the kids show Avatar: The Last Airbender? I've never watched it. I can't speak on that. That's the issue. I've never seen it. I have not seen a lot of things relating to pop culture. That's my problem. I don't know. Because growing up when I was little, I never wanted to watch what other kids liked. I don't know what it was. I've always just been a contrarian about culture for some reason. And I guess it makes sense. Now what am I? The angry conservative who's like, everything is so, it works. It fits. I was always meant to do this. I was born for this. Because you know what I was doing when I was little? Everyone's like, hey, this show is so good. And because other kids were talking about it, I was like, no, then it probably sucks. That was actually how I thought back then. Okay? So I guess as an example of this, you guys remember Ninjago, that Cartoon Network show, the ninjas with the... I used to love ninjas growing up. But everyone was like, oh, then watch Ninjago, bro. Ninjago's so epic, all this stuff. And I was like, but they're Legos, weird. They'd wear weird colors and they have these mythical powers. I didn't like that. I like the actual, historical Japanese ninjas. And so, but mainly what it really was that because other kids were doing it, I was just like, it must suck. I'm going to do my own thing. So anyways, Sandra Meyer for $2 says, what is your Cash App? It's in the link in my description. It's on, it's just The Vincedao. I think it's the name, the $sign The Vincedao. But I think the link for it's in the description. Disciple of, I don't know, the Disciple for $5 says, I remember when Surf debates with actual Justice Warrior, he insults AJW's debate ability and then said, your argument is like a child running to his father for masturbating. Yeah, the Lance is just such a... He's, just the guy, obviously, as you can tell, that's clearly is just how he views the world. Everything to him is viewed through a sexual lens. He's just kind of a gross person. And then look at what he believes. Look at what... I think women should, be able to have abortions at 9 months. Yeah, the guy is just a degenerate. The guy's gross, clearly, as you can tell. And I mean, just listen to him. Total simp, too. I think women should be able to have 9-month abortions because that's not my choice. So true. Surf is not the smartest. No, he's not. And there are, don't get me wrong, there are people that I think if you were to debate them on the left, you'd have to actually come prepared because they have, I mean, really, I wouldn't consider them smart, but really what it is a person like Destiny, Hunter, Avalon, Vosh, whatever, I would say they have a good memory, right? And so all they do is just study here, study there. Okay, let me debate. And the thing is, I can't call those people smart because I don't think they think. They don't actually think. They're just, hey, let me Google my study. Oh my gosh, did you know that did you know that the NIH says that transgenderism is good for kids? Hey, that's what my study said. Right? So I don't think that's smart. Because if you're not actually thinking, if they don't actually develop a worldview, they just rely on studies to do it. I don't call them smart people, but they can be challenging to debate, I would say. Not because they're smart, but because they have so much knowledge of, just Googling, Google, Matrix, study. But you listen to the Serf, Lance, I don't think is a smart guy at all. I think he's just stupid. Like, you see him there, he's debating Tim Pool, and no shade at Tim Pool, but I wouldn't exactly consider him. You're not exactly debating like a world-class conservative debater, right? He's just, and Lance just looks like an idiot. Bodily autonomy. So it's just ridiculous. Anyways, Bad Peter sends his first super chat. Thank you very much, Bad Peter. We appreciate it. God bless you. Says, hey, Vince, Puerto Rican Hispanic here. Oh, you're a Puerto Rican Hispanic. Well, what can I say? As we said at the start of the stream, this went totally cold. I spent $20 just to take one bite out of the. But you know what? It was for the brand. It was for international relations. I'm going to take a second one. I'm going to take a second bite, though, out of the burrito bowl just for you. Oh, he's Puerto Rican, Vince. Well, what do you want me to do? I don't got Puerto Rican food. What do Puerto Ricans even eat? I don't know. But here we go. Anyways, I visited my childhood Christian private school to find out that LGBT has infuriated several classrooms there. Broke my heart. Pray for Puerto Rico. Thank you for the $10. Yeah, pray for Puerto Rico. That's sad. That's sad to hear. I think it's a United States thing. As unpatriotic as that sounds, if Puerto Rico were an independent country, do you think they'd have that? Do you think they have that in Guatemala? Do you think they have that in Mexico? Do you think they have that in the Dominican Republic? No, but because Puerto Rico is a United States territory, that's how you get funding from the federal government, right? Just be gay. So yes, pray for Puerto Rico. I hope that I hope that you non-mainlanders, non-staties, at least, for your sake, fend it off, okay? And maybe I'll come visit sometime. Maybe I've been thinking, should I visit Puerto Rico? Is it dangerous there? I've heard it's, you get your average pickpocket or whatever. I've heard it's not that bad there, though. But then I was telling my parents, I was like, maybe I might take a trip down to Puerto Rico with some friends, drinking age is 18, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, no, it's dangerous there. So I don't, is it safe? Can we go to Puerto Rico? I have no idea. But anyways, Burgundy Blue for $2 says, leftist Twitch streamers are great sophists. Yeah, real. Thank you for the $2, Burgundy Blue. But anyways, these people need studies to confirm. I forgot. Okay. Puerto Rican super chatter. Bite number 2 is just for you. There's a lot of, the cheese is all hardened because it's cold. Okay. I love Hispanics. It's so true. Okay. Anyways, these people need studies to confirm that the sky is blue or the grass is green. They need an institution to confirm the obvious. 100% so true. Exactly. Shoot. My phone is dead. Sandra Meyer, if you did send me a Cash App, my phone's dead. So I'll have to check. I'll have to get it up on the next stream, okay? Unless, should I go plug? Do I have a charger here? I don't. It's so over. But anyways, let's see here. Anything else? Native Texan says, taco emoji, burrito emoji, taco emoji, burrito emoji, several more times. It's so true. Happy Cinco de Mayo. We love Hispanics. We love the Hispanics, okay? I was late to the stream because I had to honor the Hispanics. We know this. And okay, Sandra Myers, all I said was God bless you. God bless you too, Sandra Meyer. Again, the taco bowls at Trump Tower are the best. And really, I would probably say next year, next Cinco de Mayo, I think we have to go to New York. We have to go to New York City, to Trump Tower, and find that infamous taco bowl. I think we have to. But, you know, for now, we got a burrito bowl from Chipotle. Okay, so there is the honorary. They will never call Vince racist again. How can they do it? How can they do it? I've cured race relations in America. Okay? We love Hispanics. We love Hispanics. Hey, Vince Dow, you want to limit immigration? That's anti-Hispanic. Okay, but I just ate the I just ate the taco bowl. So what are you gonna do about that? Okay? All the journalists who write hit pieces on me, they're seething. They're like, what can we do now? No! Why? He can't do that? Yes, I can. I love Hispanics. I love Hispanics. All right, anyways. Let's see if we got anything on Streamlabs, which I'm not sure if we did. Joanna, did we get any super chats? No, we did not. Okay. Hispanics love you too, Mr. Dow. Well, there you go. There you go. See? What are they going to say? What are they going to say? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this coalitioning happening right now. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. The other side physically does not know what to do. Okay? Eve says, we love Asians too, brother. There you go. There you go. Okay? The alliance. The alliance. Hey, listen. Back, you know, where I grow up, that's basically what it is. It's Hispanics, some Asians, and like your occasional white or black person. Okay? That's where I grew up in LA. So it's like, you know, well, I've always been brothers. We've always been This is so ridiculous. We love Hispanics. So true. So true. Look at all the Hispanics in chat. It's your day. It's your I love Hispanics. We got to get it up on the screen. We got to get it up on the screen. Okay? No, that's wrong one. Wrong one, not that one. All right? We're putting this up on the screen because it is your day. Okay? I love Hispanics. The president said it, and I say it too. So real. So real. Homer says, remember when I told you about a woke webtoon with 3 non-binary characters? The show's name is BFDI. Kids as young as 12 are being LGBTQ. I might have to take a look. I might have to listen sometime. Vince is incredibly wise for his age. He's got all sorts of things to clean up, but is he really only 20? Yes, I am really only 20. What do you mean I gotta clean up? Are you saying my rant about Hispanics was unprofessional? Are you saying it was unprofessional? Listen. Just because you won't hear this on cable news, a guy go on a 10-minute rant about how he loves Hispanics and takes a bite out of a Chipotle bowl, okay? You know what? That's why why do you think cable news is declining? Huh? Why do you think cable news is dying? Because they're not innovative. They don't see the future, okay? They're like, "Oh, Vince, they don't see the future." They don't see the future. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Colin. I appreciate it. But you know, this is so true. This is so true. All right, let's see what else we got going on in chat. We are all essays in Christ. Real. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Can chickens fry steak? Yes, they can. By the way, questions in chat. You guys got them. Feel free to send them in as super chats. But I'm reading some of the regular chat right now. Fellow Hispanic person experts. You know. That's what my minor is. Don't you guys? My minor in college. Hispanic studies. Is that even a thing? Latin studies? I don't know. Okay. I'm changing my major tomorrow to whatever it is. Dirty Mike says Vince needs a beard. I can't take him seriously without a beard. This is just untrue. What Asian person with a beard do you ever take seriously? Every Asian looks stupid with a beard. I've not seen one that looks good with a beard. Okay. Because we grow... I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of white guys look really good with their beard. A lot of black guys look really good with their beard. Have you ever seen an Asian try to grow facial hair? Because it doesn't connect. It doesn't grow evenly. We don't really grow a lot of hair here. But we'll grow like this way. And so you just end up with the Confucius thing and like a weird mustache, and it does not look right on like Asian men don't look right with facial hair. I will maintain this stance. I've never seen one that actually looks good. They just look unkempt. Like they just look like a hobo, you know. Facial hair is just not a good. Facial hair is not a thing on us. So, you know, like I said, if we got to like 1 million subscribers and I made a promise I'll grow a beard for the meme, we'll do it for like a month. We'll do like a no shave November. But I mean, seriously, it's not a thing that looks good on Asian guys. It just doesn't. And I know I'm not all the way Asian, which is why I can grow facial hair. Like my Italian side, I actually grow hair and stuff. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. It's just true. Okay? Picture me first. How would I look with a beard? And then combine that with how would I look with an Asian beard. It doesn't look right. I'm just telling you, it does not look right. Burgundy Blue for $10. Thank you very much. Says Vince, how would you describe your political ideology journey? For me, I started out as a John Oliver liberal / social democrat. Burgundy Blue, I'm sorry. That is so... You used to like John Oliver. I'm going to make fun of you for that forever. Just get... John Oliver, isn't he that one British guy who just... he's not even funny. He just makes cringe jokes. Then an independent, then a populist, then a conservative social democrat, and then an ordist conservative. Thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. I would say I started... When I first got into politics, I was like... I would say I was like a Bill Maher liberal. I've told this story before on my on the very first show. I tell the story of how I became a conservative. In 7th grade, in middle school, I was like a Bill Maher, Tulsi Gabbard liberal. I actually supported Bernie back in 2015, 2016. Keep in mind, I was in middle school, okay, before anyone... I've had people, by the way, say, Vince is not he's a left... This is the most schizo, right-wing thing that I've heard people say. He supported Bernie when he was in 7th grade. He's controlled opposition. Okay, anyways. But this is what... So, 7th grade, I was an anti-woke, anti-PC, liberal, left-wing populist, or whatever you want to call it. And so I was always socially not left-wing. I was like, economically, I don't know, I liked some of the ideas. I bought the traditional old school, working class leftist idea of, you know what I mean? But I looked at the left and I never really got along with the left because I was constantly, why do you guys divide so much along gender lines, racial lines? You guys say you like equality, but also you hate white people and you hate men and straight people. So how does that add up? I used to make fun of feminists all the time. But, growing up in LA and stuff, I guess it was just not my natural inclination to be Republican or conservative because of the people around me. And so I first found my home thinking, oh, well, Bernie Sanders, he's a populist. He's anti-establishment. And then in 2016, when Bernie endorsed Hillary Clinton, for some reason, I thought Bernie was going to rebel at the convention, and he didn't, and I was very disappointed. So when he endorsed Hillary at the convention, I lost a lot of respect for Bernie. And so I didn't really support either Trump or Hillary, but I wanted Trump to beat Hillary because I genuinely could not stand Hillary, right? That was sort of I don't know, I had a weird stance. I was like a schizo conspiracy theorist, left-wing populist, if that makes sense. I used to like Anonymous and all that stuff, and I was super anti-government, but also I was a leftist. You know what I'm saying? So that was me back then, and I really wanted Tulsi Gabbard to be president in 2020. Which, now everyone knows. But back in 2016, I was a big Tulsi Gabbard fan. That's who I was back then. I graduate middle school, culminate, whatever the word is. I didn't care a lot about politics. Not for the beginning of 9th grade, I did not care at all about politics. The only thing I cared about was talking to girls and getting girls and fashion and all that. I was hit a little bit of puberty, I guess. But then... End of 9th grade, Parkland happened, March for Our Lives happened, and that just made me interested in politics again, right? I didn't care, I just made me interested in politics again. And I don't know what it... So initially, actually, the first few days I saw March for Our Lives, I was kind of like, oh, wow, this is kind of inspiring. Look at all these young people being young people, you know what I mean? And then... I listened to them. I kind of thought about it logically. I was like, gun control doesn't actually make any sense. It's whatever. And so that actually was kind of the start of me being a conservative. And I started watching Tucker Carlson. That was my first red pill figure. It was not Ben Shapiro. It was not Crowder, Milo back in the day. No, it was actually Tucker Carlson. That was the first person I watched. And I listened to a lot of his arguments about immigration and stuff. And so I would say I actually, when I first like became conservative, I mean, I basically just consider myself a normal Trump conservative or whatever, I guess. But like a, you know, but I actually had more populist, quote unquote, nationalist views in my very first days of being conservative because I was a big Tucker Carlson fan back in 2018, back when he used to talk about immigration and all that stuff. That was actually what kind of brought me into politics and motivated me to do this publicly. That's my first, the reason we do this show is and do all this stuff I've been doing for years is because of Tucker, right? And so that was kind of where I started out on the right wing. This was like 2018. As most people, I had a little bit of a libertarian phase in, say, like 2019 or so, where, you know, when everyone first becomes politically enlightened on the right wing, they become libertarian because, wow, these people sound so smart, blah, blah, blah. And so I was, but I never went the full libertarian route, right? I still supported Trump. I was still Republican. I always thought the LP was a joke, whatever. And I argued with libertarians about this. I was like, you know, come on, let's be realistic. Let's be practical. So I never really, much like the left way back in the day, I never really fit in with the libertarians either because I still liked Trump. I still liked Tucker Carlson. You're a statist, bro. And you know, all the time they were just the purity spiral. Bro, you're not a real libertarian, all this stuff, because I supported some common sense things. And so, you know, over time, as I guess matured a little bit and just started to just like Trump even more, because remember 2019, 2020, things were going well for Trump. And so I kind of moved back a little bit into the more populist, quote unquote, conservative thing, you know. And then, so I was like conservatarian, I guess, but I was just becoming more and more socially populist, you know, conservative, whatever. And then in 2020, March for Our Lives happened. Not March for Our Lives, Black Lives Matter, sorry, you know, all that stuff. And that just radicalized me very much to the right. And I was like, wow, like these people are burning down our country, you know? And I think it did it to a lot of people. And so I became more of this, you know, national populist figure, whatever you want to call it. And then, you know, over time from there, I had my more populist phase. And then, you know, say about 2021 or whatever, I started to really question, well, why do we as right-wingers worship like the free market at all? You know, we should be pro-family, we should be pro-God, all that stuff, which I still believe. But I started to get very, very like populist on the economics front, and that was kind of like late 2020 through 2021. And then I guess as of recent, right, the last year or so, I've kind of I would say I consider myself now just old right, just paleo conservative. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I basically subscribe to the philosophy of the American right wing before World War II, right? So this is kind of think your opponents to the New Deal coalition, Calvin Coolidge, you know. So I would say domestically, I'm generally pro-business and pro-market, although I don't think it should be worshipped at an altar. But I've ditched some of my more like populist or borderline left-wing economic views from that phase last year because, you know, I started, I don't know, paying taxes, making money, thinking about business, and that kind of, you know, just kind of growing up. It kind of awakens you, and then you're like, and then I looked a lot also at how the economy is currently going and inflation, all that. I was like, yeah, maybe these fiscal conservatives, they do have something right. Like they do understand. And so I try to like balance the two now. I don't worship the free market as God, but I'm also generally like, yeah, a lot of these like populist types who try to make, oh, well, let's reject capitalism altogether. You're just LARPing. All you're going to do is create mass inflation, and that's not good for the American family or culture, whatever is it. So that's why I would say I'm basically a mirror image of the just pre-war American conservatives, because I am pro-business, I'm pro-market mostly, But I'm also pro-domestic market, right? I'm not a big fan of globalism, free trade. You look at the pre-World War II, right? Very heavy tariffs, right? Calvin Coolidge was a big tariff guy. And then on social issues, I'm pretty conservative, right? I believe we need to restrict mass immigration into our country, much like the pre-war, right? I believe in America's Christian heritage, right? I'm a Protestant Christian, all that stuff. So that's basically what I would say I am now. There's very little. I look at like President Coolidge. There's very little, if anything, that I know of that I actually disagree with. I basically I mean, you could show me one thing and I could consider it, but his approach generally, I basically 100% agree with, right? Protect the nation state, protect the borders, protect the national market, be socially conservative on the issues, but also, make it easy to do business in our country, right? Promote it being easy to do business in our country, promote growth in the economy. That's a good thing. And that's just sort of my approach, right? Reject things like the New Deal. We don't need a massive federal bureaucracy. I don't think that's been good for conservatives, and I know a lot of populist types like to say, oh, what if we just wielded it for ourselves? Yeah, but how are you going to do that? How's that actually going to work? So that's a very long answer to your question, but it was an interesting question. I figured I might as well talk about it. That's where I am ideologically today. I would just consider myself, I really just like to call myself conservative, but if you want to label it, I would consider myself a basically by-the-book paleo-conservative, on the social issues, the economic issues. There's very little I disagree with, I should say, for, with Pat Buchanan on, or Calvin Coolidge on, any of the old right philosophically figures. So thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here. Castelluccio for $5 says, nobody talks about the soul that's created at conception. It's sad and infuriating at the same time. Enjoy your content, Vince. Keep grinding, bro. Thank you for the $5, Castelluccio. God bless you. And it is so true. It is so true. Nobody talks about the soul that's created at conception. Real and true. So we'll go for about 10 more minutes here. So any last super chats you want to send in, questions, comments, read them now. Send them in now so that we can get to all of them. It's all appreciated, obviously. God bless you guys. God bless everyone who supported tonight. But Dirty Mike for $2 says, Mr. Miyagi had a beard. Aye, I know, son. Okay, but Mr. Miyagi's a wise old age man. Yeah, you're right. After I'm 50, I should just do it. I should do the wise old Asian mystic thing. Aye, Mr. Miyagi-san. Okay, but for a young person, you just look like a hobo, right? Who's that one Korean guy who's like a stoner or whatever? You know him? He was on Joe Rogan. He talks about that like African tribe or whatever. I don't know. You know who I'm talking about? Like, does that guy sound credible to you, or does he just look like a stoner? That's a problem. Yes, old Asian men with a beard, it works. But young Asian men, I disagree. Thank you for the $2, though. Dirty Mike. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, Japs from the Victorian/Meiji era grew great beards. Am I in the Victorian or Meiji era, Burgundy Blue? Am I in it? Oh, but no, uphold traditional values. Okay, listen, we got to also be like taken semi-seriously, okay? I'm not trying to look like a cosplayer of a samurai. Yeah, that's good for our public credibility, okay? It is true. It worked for the time, but it's like saying, hey, why don't you wear like the founding father wigs? They used to wear those wigs. Hey, wear those. It's trad. No, yeah, back then, yeah, it was cool, whatever. Now it just looks ridiculous. It looks like you're wearing a costume. So, anyways, yo, we got Ciao, Vince. I just realized this is the first time I'm watching you live, watching from Dubai, by the way. Well, shout out to Dubai. That's a first. We haven't gotten that one before. Mithril Arts and Jewelry. We got to talk, okay? Because a few weeks ago, I put out a question. I said, what's stopping American cities from being like Dubai? And what I meant is that, your city is compared to a lot of the world. It's cleaner, it's safe, right? It's like orderly, it's modern, and it's advanced. And I put out, what's stopping the United States from doing that? And I had so many people coming at me saying authoritarianism, saying, why do you want to be like Dubai? It's just like authoritarian dictatorship. Well, Mithril Arts, can we answer this question? Because I am sure there are more socially conservative laws on morality in Dubai than the United States. But, you're watching us on YouTube in Dubai. Are there government agents at your door? It's a genuine question. What is it actually like? Because by the way, I wasn't even saying the United States needs to copy Dubai in every aspect. I was just saying fundamentally, why is it that their city, I should say, is so orderly and modern and everything, and every single one of our cities is a third world disaster? So, shout out to our viewer from Dubai. I mean, can you answer this question? Do you live in an authoritarian state? Are there government agents and drones everywhere watching everything you do? That's what people told me. So, genuine question there. But shout out to Dubai. Shout out to our Dubai viewers. Homer with 50,000 Vietnamese dogs. Look at this, the international audience. We're coalescing, okay? We love Mr. Worldwide, VinceDao Worldwide. That should be, if we ever have a show that's like internationally based, that's where we're gonna VinceDao Worldwide. That's a cool name. We should name the merch shop that, VinceDao Worldwide. Anyways, 50,000 Dogs says it's disappointing how many conservatives already accepted / tolerated homosexuality. Thank you for the 50,000 Dongs. And, your opinion's going to be very controversial, but with a lot of people, but it is true. You want to talk about the slippery slope? You want to talk about how we got here? People forget that the fight over gay marriage was literally, that was a thing about less than a decade ago. Less than a decade ago, it was a mainstream conservative opinion to oppose that. And now if you say that on the right, if you say marriage is between a man and a woman, you get, like, the mob is just, why would you say this? That's not conservative. What about freedom? So it is true. Thank you for the 50,000 Dogs. I appreciate it. I mean, just saying, you want to talk about most slippery slope. I mean, that's where it all started. Burgundy Blue for $2 says Tucker has converted countless liberals to base. Thank you for the $2, and it is true. It is true. The cultural impact of Tucker Carlson, I feel like by some may actually be underestimated. Native Texan 1836 says, I'm an old man, ... Well, I mean, you were born according to your username in 1836. So, I think for 100, what would that be? 87 for 187 years old. I think you're doing pretty well, Native Texan. So, shout out. We love 1836. Let's go. Dollar for $2 says 1911 won 2 world wars. Glocks haven't won anything. It's true. Dollar for dollar. I've never shot a 1911 though, so I got to try it out. That's one thing I've not done. But it is true. Thank you for the dollar for dollar. Let's see what else we got here. Again, I know we said we're going to go till 9:15 and we're still going, but any last super chats? Okay, I'm going to end the stream very soon here. Castelluccio for $2 says, my name is pronounced Castelluccio. Oh, yeah, I'm just dyslexic apparently. Castelluccio for $2. Appreciate it. God bless you. Dollar for $2 says you got a lot of gizmos on that rifle there, Bubba. How do you do a Forrest Gump? You got... Oh, I can't do it right now. Thank you for the $2. Dollar for dollar. Appreciate it. Admiral 125 star for $5 says, how are there so many white leftists on a side that hates them? Is it white guilt? Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. I think that's exactly what it is. Thank you for the $5. I also think, to stereotype kind of white people for a second, I think part of the reason why there is so much quote unquote white guilt is because white people are nice. I mean, let's be honest about the stereotype. What's every stereotype of white people? They're so kind, hey, come in for dinner, all that. I think honestly, if there's sort of a criticism to be had, I think part of this whole white guilt phenomenon is that, like, white people are genuinely so nice that they're like, oh, well, you want to burn down my whole neighborhood? I mean, go ahead. I don't want to get involved, Thank you for the $5. So I think to a large extent that's true. I think, and the reason Because go try and tell any other race to feel guilty about themselves. It's not going to fly well, right? I think to an extent, in general, again, we are obviously stereotyping here, but in general, a lot of white people are so nice that they just end up, okay, you guys want to take over the country, you guys want to burn down the country, okay. It is true, right? It is true. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no more super chats tonight, well, thank you to, okay, we got one more. Colin for $2 says, why are you against free trade? I need more depth. I mean, well, I think if you look at the effects, you look at the reason why Donald Trump got elected, and you look at the effects that it has had on our country, right? You go to the American Midwest. That's the reason I'm against free trade, is because I think that we as a country ought to manufacture things for ourselves. I like things being made in the United States. And I understand that it's cheaper. It's cheaper outside, right? But you have to also understand, I think there's a social cost to what we have done. The deindustrialization of our country. First of all, you could argue it's a cultural reason why we have this culture of going to college, professionalism, all this stuff. You know, why does everyone have to go to college these days? Well, part of it is because our country is deindustrialized, right? The trades are not as respected as they once were. That's the cult. And so I would argue that's one front. Another front, just go to the Midwest. I mean, look at it. It's hollowed out. You know, and in a lot of cases, go to Ohio, Michigan. It's kind of depressing to be in some of those small towns, and that's kind of the effect of that. And so I just don't think it's been a healthy thing for our country. And then on top of that, it's a security thing. And also, by the way, there's something to be said about, you know, the United States was built out on manufacturing. That's always been our thing. We're a manufacturing powerhouse, right? That's how we won the world wars. That's how we got through the roaring 20s. That's what our country was built on. Right, our country was not built on free trade. It was the entire history of the United States was built on tariffs, right? Tariffs, domestic trade, domestic manufacturing, all that stuff. And so as a conservative, obviously I like to respect the American tradition or whatever it is. And there's something about the national ethos. Hey, that's who we are as a country. There's something to be said in order to preserve the soul of our country, to preserve the social cohesion of our country. We have to in my opinion, ought to sort of look to something like the way we've always manufactured and say, you know, in order to keep America together, we have to keep some degree of that identity alive, right? And we don't do that with free trade because obviously it's cheaper to manufacture in other countries. And then it's a security issue too. Because what happens when these supply chains, as you can see, are very easily disrupted? Oh, those chips that Taiwan makes, well, apparently we don't make them in the United States. Pharmaceuticals, they're all made in China, right? So, you know, that's basically the reason why I would say I'm not pro-free trade. Dollar for dollar. All right, last super chat. Dollar for $2 says, is Hank Hill our guy? Yes, he's secretly our guy. All right, we love Hank Hill. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to everyone who tuned in to the stream tonight. We will, I don't know, I might do a bonus stream tomorrow, but most likely we will see you Monday for the return of the Vince Dao Show. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you all for tuning in. Before we go, everyone be sure to leave a like on the stream. Okay, let's get to 150 likes. And until the next time I see you guys, Alpha Moves Only. Everyone have a very good night. God bless. Stay safe. Have a nice weekend. See you guys Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And peace. Good night, everybody. I love Hispanics. So true.